Read.
Okay.
Yeah, can you see the
Host,
screen?
you're
as well?
going to record with me?
Can you make it a bit bigger?
Yeah, that's
please?
fine. Yeah,
The verses, Prabhuji.
Is that okay?
This is much better. Thank you.
so recitation is from the chapter 5, yes?
Chapter 5, yeah, text 1 to 20. And is Sono Mataji there as well?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, thank you, Sono Mataji. You'll be reading the translation, yeah?
Yes.
So Vedan starts, yeah?
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sutayuvacha. Atha tam sukhamasina upasinam bruhachuva. Devarshi praha viprarshi vinapani smayanniva.
Sutta Goswami said, thus the sage amongst the gods, Narada, comfortably seated and apparently smiling, addressed the rishi amongst the brahmanas, Veda Vyasa.
Naraduvacha Parashaya Mahabhaga Bhavata Kachidatmana Paritushyati Sharira Atma Manasa Eva.
Addressing Vyasadeva, the son of Parashara, Narada inquired, are you satisfied by identifying with the body or the mind as objects of self-realization?
Vignasitam Sumampanna Vignasitam Sumampanna Mapite Maha Dadbhutam Krutavana Bharatam Yasyam Sarvartha Paribruhitam.
Your inquiries were full and your studies were also well fulfilled, and there is no doubt that you have prepared a great and wonderful work, the Mahabharata, which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequences elaborately explained.
Jignasitam Thitam Cha Jignasitam Dhitam Cha Brahma Yatat Sanatanam Tathapi Shochasyatmanam Krutartha Eva Prabhu.
You have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahman, as well as the knowledge derived therefrom. Why should you be despondent in spite of all this, thinking that you are undone, my dear Prabhu?
Vyasuvacha Astyeva me sarvamidam Astyeva me sarvamidam Tvayoktam tathapi natma Paritushyate me Tanmulam avyaktam Tamabhaga Buddham Puchamahetma Tvatmabhava Tvabhutam.
Sri Vyasadeva said, all you have said about me is perfectly correct. Despite all this, I am not pacified. I therefore question you about the root cause of my dissatisfaction, for you are a man of unlimited knowledge due to your being the offspring of one Brahma who self-born without mundane father and mother.
Savai Bhavan Veda Samastaguhyam Guhya Mupasitopa Yat Purusha Purana Paravaresho Manaseva Vishwam Suchatyavatya Gune Rasanga.
My Lord, everything that is mysterious is known to you because you worship the creator and destroyer of the material world and the maintainer of the spiritual world, the original personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to the three modes of material nature.
Twamparyatanka Iva Triloki Mantascharo Vayuriva Mama Sakshi Paravare Brahmani Dharmato Vrate Snatam Samenu Namalam Vichaksha.
Like the sun, your goodness can travel everywhere in the three worlds, and like the air, you can penetrate the internal region of everyone. As such, you are as good as the all-pervasive supersoul. Please, therefore, find out the deficiency in me, despite my being absorbed in transcendence under disciplinary regulations and vows.
श्रीनारदुवाच भवतानुदितप्रायं यशो भगवतो मलं येनैवासो न तुष्येत मन्येत दर्शनमखिलम्.
Sri Narada said, "You have not actually broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the personality of Godhead. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord is considered worthless.
यथा धर्मादयश्चार्यथा मुनिवर्यानुकीर्तिता तथा वासुदेवस्य महिमा अनुवर्णिता.
Although great sage, you have very broadly described the four principles beginning with religious performances. You have not described the glories of the Supreme Personality, Vasudeva.
न यद्वचश्चैत्रपदं हरेर् यशो जगत्पवित्रं त्रिगुणित कर्हिचित् तद्वा यशं तीर्थमुशन्ति मानसा न यत्र हंसा निर्मन्तु युषिक्ष्या.
Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all-perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there.
तद्वेक्वि सर्गो जनतादविप्लवो यस्मिन् प्रतिश्लोकमबद्धवत्यपि नामान्यनन्तस्य यशोङ्गितानि यत् शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गुणन्ति साधव.
On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest.
नैष्कर्म्यप्यच्युतभाववर्जितं न शोभतो ते ज्ञानमलं निरञ्जनं ऋतः पुनः शश्वद भद्रमीश्वरे न चार्पितं कर्म यदप्यकारणम्.
Knowledge of self-realization, even though free from all material affinity, does not look well if devoid of a conception of the infallible God. What, then, is the use of fruitive activities, which are naturally painful from the very beginning and transient by nature, if they are not utilized for the devotional service of the Lord?
अथो महाभाग भवान् मोदक शुचिश्रवासत्यरतो धृतव्रतः उरुक्रमस्याखिल बन्धमुक्तये समाधिनानुस्मरतद्विचेष्टितम्.
O Vyasadeva, your vision is completely perfect. Your good fame is spotless. You are firm in vow and situated in truthfulness. And thus you can think of the pastimes of the Lord in trance for the liberation of the people in general from all material bondage.
निथाकचिनयद्विवक्षत पृथक् दशस्तत्कृतरूपनामभि न कर्हि चित्त्वपि च दुःस्थितां ति लेभेत वाता पतनो रिवास्पदम्.
Whatever you desire to describe that is separate in vision from the Lord simply reacts with different forms, names, and results to agitate the mind as the wind agitates a boat which has no resting place.
Chugupsitam dharmakrutenushasata स्वभावरक्तस्य महानव्यतिक्रम यद्वाक्यतो धर्म इति रस्थितो न मन्यते तस्य निवारणं जना.
The people in general are naturally inclined to enjoy, and you have encouraged them in that way in the name of religion. This is verily condemned and is quite unreasonable. Because they are guided under your instructions, they will accept such activities in the name of religion and will hardly care for prohibitions.
विचक्षणोऽस्यार् अति वेदितु विभो सनन्तपारस्य निवृत्तितः सुखम् प्रवर्तमानस्य गुणैर नात्मनः स्ततो भवान् दर्शयति विभो.
The Supreme Lord is unlimited. Only a very expert personality, retired from the activities of material happiness, deserves to understand this knowledge of spiritual values. Therefore, those who are not so well situated due to material attachment should be shown the ways of transcendental realization by your goodness through descriptions of the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord.
त्यक्त्वा स्वधर्म चरणाम्बुजं हरे भजन् पक्वोऽथ पतितो यदि यत्र क्व वा भद्रम भूदभुष्मुष्किं को वार्थ आप्तो भजतां स्वधर्मतः.
One who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage, yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything.
तस्यैव हेतो प्रेतेत कोविदो न लभ्यते यद् भ्रमतामुपर्तनात् तल्लभ्यते ते दुःखवदान्यत सुखं कालेन सर्वत्र गभीरं सहसा.
Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, down to the lowest planet, Patala. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries even though we do not desire them.
न वै जनो जातु कथ जनावृते मुकुन्द सैवन्य वदङ्ग संस्कृतिं स्मरं दुकुन्दा दुरपगुहनिपुन् विहातुमिच्छेन् नरसग्रहोचन.
My dear Vyasa, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes falls down, somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruitive workers, etc. Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again.
इदं हि विश्वं भगवानि वेतरो यतो जगत्स्थान न निरोध संभव तद्वि स्वयं वेद भवास्त स्थापिते प्रादेश मात्रं भवत प्रदर्शितम्.
The Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, is himself this cosmos, and still he is aloof from it. From him only has this cosmic manifestation emanated. In him it rests, and unto him it enters after annihilation. Your good self knows all about this. I have given only a synopsis.
Om Nam.
Hi, Krishna. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. That was really wonderful. How old are you?
I'm 8.
Okay, thank you. And thank you so much, Saramataji, as well. So Vedant, just to recap again, he's actually going to go to Vrindavan Gurukul. And today we kindly asked him to recite the Sanskrit. I've been told that he's been reciting the Sanskrit slokas a few times. So thank you once again, Vedant, and we certainly wish you all the best. And please bless us as well, that we could also become devotees and reside in Vrindavan one day like you. Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Wish
Thank
you
you.
all the best, dear Vedant. You have been reciting so nicely the Sanskrit verses. Lots of love and blessings from all of us in the group, okay? Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Mercy of Lord Mataji. Thank you for having him all the time.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful for him, even though we are living in Norwich, there was a very special moment for him all the time. And he always prepared himself as well to recite. So that's really nice. Today, my wife has liaised with you. But
Yes.
today, I was just wanted to see all around what he does, So it was very nice. Thank you for having him. And hopefully, as you said, he will come back and he will learn something more and will share with us from the Holy Land.
Wonderful, wonderful. He's a perfect example of, of a devotee. Perfect example. Thank you very much, Vedant. Wish you all
Hare
the
Krishna.
best. Hare Krishna from all of us.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Thank you very much, Vedant. Certainly wish you all the best. Yeah. So just before I start, just want to looking for 2 devotees to volunteer to recite the purport. It's quite a long purport. So if there's anybody there, please raise your hands. Also, I forgot to mention Anju, but she's going to be reciting the special prayers of Nityananda. Nityananda Ashtakam Vashila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Is that right, Anju?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes. I just wanted to check. Can you see that screen?
Yes.
Yes. Is that the prayer? So you're going to be reciting?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, that's so wonderful. So we're looking forward to that as well. So I'll start with a particular verse for today. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, verse 20. Idam hi Vishwam Bhagavani Vetaro. Sorry. Idam hi Vishwam Bhagavani Vetaro. Yato Jagatstana Nirodo Sambhava. Tadhi Swaya Veda Bhavamstata Pite. Padesha Matra Bhavata Padashitam. Okay, word for word translation. Idam, this, he, all, Vishwam, cosmos, Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, Eva, almost the same, Itaraha, different from, Yata, from whom, Jagat, the worlds, Sthana, exist, Nirodha, annihilation, Sambhavaha, creation, Tadhi, all about, Swayam, personally, Veda, no, Bhavan, your good self, Tatapi, still, Te, unto you, Padesha Matra, a hypnosis only, Bhavataha, unto you, Padarashitam, explained. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, is Himself, this cosmos, but still He is aloof from it. From Him only has this cosmic manifestation emanated, and in Him it rests, and unto Him it enters after annihilation. Your good self knows all about this. I have given only a hypnosis. Okay. Anybody wants to recite the purport at all? They recite the first and second paragraphs. Krishnangi Mataji?
Yes, Shastra.
Okay.
For a pure devotee, the conception of Mukund, Lord Shri Krishna, is both personal and impersonal. The impersonal cosmic situation is also Mukund because it is the emanation of the energy of Mukund. For example, a tree is a complete unit, whereas the leaves and the branches of the tree are emanated parts and parcels of the tree. The leaves and the branches of the tree are also the tree, but the tree itself is neither the leaves nor the branches. The Vedic version that the whole cosmic creation is nothing but Brahman means that since everything is emanating from the Supreme Brahman, nothing is apart from him. Similarly, the part and parcel, hands and legs are called the body, but the body as the whole unit is neither the hands nor the legs. The Lord is the transcendental form of eternity, cognition, and beauty. And thus the creation of the energy of the Lord appears to be partially eternal, full of knowledge and beautiful also. The captivated conditioned souls under the influence of the external energy Maya are therefore entrapped in the network of the material nature. They accept this as the all in all, for they have no information of the Lord, who is the primal cause, nor have they information that the parts and parcel of the body, being detached from the whole body, are no longer the same hand or leg as when attached to the body. Similarly, a godless civilization detached from the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of God is just like a detached hand or leg. Such parts and parcels may appear like hands and legs, but they have no efficiency. The devotee of the Lord Srila Vyasdev knows this very well. He is further advised by Srila Narad to expand the ideas so that the entrapped conditioned souls may take lessons from him to understand the Supreme Lord as the primal cause. Shall I continue or somebody else will read now?
Yeah, if you want to continue with this smaller paragraph, and I guess I want to read the third paragraph.
Okay. According to the Vedic version, the Lord is naturally fully powerful, and thus his supreme energies are always perfect and identical with him. Both the spiritual and material skies and the paraphernalia are emanations of the internal and external energies of the Lord. The external energy is comparatively inferior, whereas the internal potency is superior. The superior energy is living force, and therefore she is completely identical, but the external energy being inert is partially identical. But both the energies are neither equal to nor greater than the Lord, who is the generator of all energies. Such energies are always under his control, exactly as electrical energy, however powerful it may be, is always under the control of the engineer. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you, Krishnangi Mataji. Anybody else would like to read the third final paragraph?
Hare
Can
Krishna,
I-
can I try? If somebody else, then it's okay.
Was that Palika? Sorry, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I did say, but if somebody else wants to do it, Krishna Govinda
Yeah.
Prabhu, okay. Thank you.
Can I read?
Yeah, yes, we do. Mataji?
Thank you. Hare
Okay.
Krishna. The human being and all other living beings are products of his internal energies. Thus, the living being is also identical with the Lord, but he is never equal or superior to the personality of Godhead. The Lord and living beings are all individual persons. With the help of the material energies, the living beings are also creating something, but none of their creations are equal or superior to the creations of the Lord. The human being may create a small, playful Sputnik and may throw it into outer space, but that does not mean that he can create a planet like the Earth or Moon and float it in the air as the Lord does. Men with a poor fund of knowledge claim to be equal to the Lord. They are never equal to the Lord. This is never to be. The human being, after attaining complete perfection, may achieve a large percentage of the qualities of the Lord, say up to 78%. But it is never possible to surpass the Lord or to become equal with him. In a diseased condition only, the foolish being claims to be one with the Lord and thus becomes misled by the illusionary energy. The misguided living beings, therefore, must accept the supremacy of the Lord and agree to render loving service to him. For this, they have been created. Without this, there cannot be any peace or tranquility in the world. Srila Vyasadeva is advised by Srila Narad to expand this idea in the Bhagavatam. In the Bhagavad Gita also, the same idea is explained. Surrender fully unto the lotus feet of the Lord. That is the only business of the perfect human being. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Srila Mataji. That was really nicely recited. And Krishna Mataji. Just read the translation once again. The Supreme Lord Personality of Godhead is himself this cosmos, and still he is aloof from it. From him only has this cosmic manifestation emanated. In him it rests, and unto him it enters after annihilation. The good self knows all about this. I have given only a hypnosis. Okay, but they recite the invocation prayers. Please do join in. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Shtapitam Yena Bhutare Swayam Rapakadamayam Tadati Swapadatikam Vandeham Shri
Yeah.
Guru Shri Yata Parakabhalam Shri Rupam
Okay.
Sarvagata Shirupam Sadrajatam Sadhana Radhatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shivada Krishna Pradan Sadhana Lalita Shivashikam Tamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Shadapate Gopishwara Gopika Kanta Pada Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Goranye Ade Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhana Sata Devi Pranamami Haripriye Panchakapa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhavya Vacha Atitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Charu Swami Tinavane Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinavane Namaste Saraswati Devan Gauravani Pujayane Nirvishesa Sanyavadi Paschata Risatayane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Naya Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narotanam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriya Astashu Bhadreshu Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavata Bhatam Shloke Bhakti Bhakti Adashtiki. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I offer my humble obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and the Chair of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Also offer my respects to Srila Bhakti Chair Swami. Also kindly ask for the blessings of all the devotees who have kindly listened on to this Srimad Bhagavatam verse today. May I say something which is pleasing and glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this particular verse is quite a long verse, and in terms of like the Prabhupada, it's got a lot of explanation in there. So just to give a little background, this Vyasadeva is feeling very despondent. He's very unsure. He's written the Vedas, but he's feeling quite depressed, and he doesn't understand exactly what is wrong. Even though he's a literal incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he wrote the Mahabharata and many other scriptures, the Vedas itself, but still he's very feeling unhappy with the works which he has written. So Narada Muni, his spiritual master, has come in and is explaining to him, you know, you've written this Vedas, but it's all about sense gratification, all about karma kanda. It doesn't really glorify the Supreme Lord, even though you may talk about dharma, karma, artha, moksha, but the actual essence of glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not at all in the written scriptures that it's produced. So Narada Muni is actually advising him just like a disciple would go to a spiritual master to ask and be inquisitive. So now the moon is giving him advice what to do. So he's telling him that you really need to go deeper and search within yourself and understand about who Krishna is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in relation to this mature world. So first of all, he starts talking about this cosmic universe. He compares the spiritual world and the mature world. Although they are both the energies of the Supreme Lord, but one is still considered the inferior energy. The mature world is considered the inferior energy, and the spiritual sky, the spiritual world, is considered the superior energy or its internal potency, whereas the mature energy is the external potency, Mahamaya, but its internal potency is referred to as Yoga Maya. So he's actually explaining that even though the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pure by nature, he's all attractive, he's unlimited, he's full of transcendental knowledge and blissful. Similarly, even the mature world is to a certain extent to that sort of degree as well. But unfortunately, because it's been influenced by the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, it has been conditioned in that way that when we actually see everything around us, we see a lot of unhappiness, a lot of suffering, a lot of calamities that's going on. So then in the purpose, Srila Prabhupada is explaining about the different examples. The first example, he gives the example of a tree. When you see the tree itself, you see the leaves and the branches, but the tree itself is considered the body, but the leaf and the trees on their own aren't considered to be the body itself. So similarly, you have the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he expands his energy in many, many ways. But even though the energy may be independent of Krishna, but it's still part of Krishna in a way itself. And then he gives another example as well. He gives an example of the hands and legs and the body as well. You have the body, but the body itself is has independent, or rather the hands and the legs, if they're independent, has no value. It's not considered to be part of the body itself. So everything emanating from the Supreme Lord is actually part of the Supreme Lord itself. You may remember that verse in the Bhagavad Gita, when it's describing the universe of form. It's the translation goes something like, everywhere are his heads, everywhere are his hands, everywhere are his legs. So these are like the expansion of the Supreme Lord in different direction. And the material manifestation is a portion of this material energy of the Supreme Lord. But when you look at a complete whole, the material universe is only a quarter compared to 3/4 of the spiritual world. So even though we see the material universe is so unlimited, but only from I suppose a definition point of view, it's only a quarter compared to the spiritual world itself. So then the other examples he gives about the Brahman itself. He explains about the Brahman. The Brahman, although it's a partial expansion of the Supreme Lord, and the creation is considered to be the Brahman, but the Brahman itself forms only part of the absolute truth. Last week, if you remember, I explained about the three aspects of the Supreme Personality of God in the form of the absolute truth, which was, first of all, is a Bhagavan, one who has unlimited opulences, but 6 specific opulences he has, or fame, beauty, strength, wisdom, renunciation, wisdom, I think, the last one. But also he has unlimited qualities itself. So that's one aspect of the absolute truth. The second aspect is considered the Brahman, or the effulgence. Just like you have the sun, you see the body of the sun, but you see the sun ray, the particles, the energy that's emanating from the sun itself. So that's considered like the Brahman, the effulgence itself. And then the third aspect is the localized Paramatma, the Supersoul, is considered to be non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supersoul, and it resides in every living entity. It's actually the witness of everything that we do in our lives. So this is understanding that the Brahman, although Krishna says that it's an external energy of his, but it's still part of his energy itself. And then he also explains that the energy itself, if it doesn't have any sort of relation to the Supreme Lord, it could be considered to be like a godless society, has no value at all. It's completely devoid of any transcendental knowledge, any sort of aspect in understanding about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's important to understand the difference between the material world, which is always, temporary, just like in the verse. There's a particular verse in the Bhagavad Gita. I'll share that with you. These are like the Chatur Shlokas, the four important verses from chapter 10 in the Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo pata sarvatam prabhatati iti matva bhajante mam Buddha bhava samannitaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So here Krishna is actually explaining that everything emanates from him. It's not independent of him at all. It is still part of him as well. But it's also aloof from the material condition as well. He's not subject to all the suffering that all the living entities go through, even though the living entities may have all the qualities of a Supreme Lord, as it explains further along in this particular verse. Somewhere along there, one of the lines I mentioned that the individual Jivatma has all the qualities of the Supreme Lord, but on a minute level. On a quantity level, it is very insignificant, just like you have the ocean, so massive, but then you compare a little drop of the ocean, has no sort of comparison in terms of like the quantity of the ocean. And similarly, sometimes you could take a big bar of gold. The gold itself is of course pure, but when you take a small dust particle of that gold, it would have all the qualities of the gold, but on a minute level itself. So this is something important to understand, like the difference between Paramatma, which is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Jivatma. And further along, it actually explains that Srila Prabhupada explains that the living being is identical with the Lord, but he's never equal or superior to the personality of Godhead. The Lord and living beings are all individual persons. So we may create something. Like in this example, Srila Prabhupada is given the Sputniks. For those who don't know, of course, Srila Prabhupada wrote this in the 60s. Sputnik was one of the early space vessels that was designed by the Russians to go into orbit to outer space. And they were able to send it off to space, and it was able to float or stay in orbit for a long time. But then Srila Prabhupada is given the example that it's not possible for human beings to actually create something like a planet, Earth or Moon, and allow it to stay in orbit. So there's another verse in the Bhagavad Gita which actually explains this quite nicely. Does anybody know what that translation is from the verse? About the planet staying in orbit. So the verse says, or the translation is, I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. So when you see the moon on a beautiful night, you see the moon shining, you think, how is it possible? It's a huge mass of, say a planet. It's able to float just in midair, in mid-space. This Earth is rotating around the sun, however heavy it is, how is it possible that it's just floating in the space itself, and all the planets are going around the sun itself? So Krishna explains so nicely, I enter to each planet by my energy, they stay in orbit. So it's just like you have the living force within the body that pervades the entire body, in the symptom of consciousness, allows us to give that living force within us to stay alive, to breathe, eat, see, touch, feel, etc. Similarly, Krishna enters into each planet and they stay in orbit. So it's almost like a living force as well in a way, because although it's a material aspect, but ultimately Krishna enters into each atom as well. So further on, we're actually, there's further explanation about the living beings, that we're always in illusion. So we always think that, we are superior. We have created this beautiful, skyscrapers. We've created this plane that could fly from one country to another country. They simply do not understand, that intelligence, the ability comes from God himself. It's very important to understand that with it, the divine intervention of the Supreme Lord in the form of us, or us receiving the intelligence, the ability, that we're able to do absolutely nothing at all. Even though somebody may say he's the greatest, somebody say he may be the most intelligent, but where is that knowledge, where is that ability coming from? It's coming from the Supreme Lord. If the Lord wanted to, he could end that sort of, good qualities that we all have for whatever reason, because sometimes due to pride, sometimes due to anger, offensiveness to other people, that could be taken away. And you see so many famous people who have become so famous, sports stars. They were, #1 sports stars at the beginning, but due to pride or arrogance, they completely diminished and withered away. Their health deteriorated. We can't deny it. Even like Muhammad Ali, he always used to say he was the greatest, but fortunately, in his last several years, he was just very invalid in his ability to do anything at all. So the spiritual sky, as I mentioned, is considered to be the internal energy of the Supreme Lord, and the material world is also considered to be like the external energy. But the jiva is sometimes known as the marginal energy, but it's still pure by nature. It is still part of the Supreme Lord, but it's considered to be on the marginal stage. By mixing with the material nature, we've actually exploited this material nature, and we're actually enjoying this material nature for our own pleasure rather than for the pleasure of Krishna. So we must actually come to understand, we see all these difficulties that's facing around the world, all these wars, these calamities, droughts, hurricanes, famines. This is all due to the karma, the burden. Even saying a lie is considered to be a great sin. And that burden goes on to Mother Earth. Mother Earth, due to taking on all these karmic reactions by all these human populations for the slaughtering of innocent animals, by destroying this environment, destroying Krishna's property. We're all suffering in the end because of that lack of human intelligence. So check it on the time, because Sanjay is going to be reciting a beautiful song in a little while. The other thing that was really nice here, the human being, after attaining complete perfection, may achieve a large percentage of the qualities of the Lord. So you're up to 78%. That's amazing. I mean, when you think the Supreme Lord is the creator of all material and spiritual worlds, and yet we are actually in that pure state, where we actually go back to Goloka Vrindavan one day, we have 78% of the quality. We could have up to 78% the quality of the Supreme Lord. Now, when you think about what significance we have in comparison to the Lord, it's absolutely like a tiny particle of dust, completely insignificant, not even worth mentioning at all. But here, the Lord is so merciful that he's allowing us to have that same quality as the Supreme Lord himself, either in the form of Narayan. So just mute this person. We can have that same quality of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna, can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. We can have the same qualities as the Supreme Lord, and in the same form, in the form of Narayan, or in the form of a servant of the Supreme Lord in the Vaikuntha planets, or even in the form of this cowherd boys or gopis in Goloka Vrindavan. And although we may think, well, we've got a long, long way to go, how do I even, comprehend how to surrender to the Supreme Lord? I don't even know how to recite a shloka. I didn't really even understand, Krishna's actually saying in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Everything seems to be, I only enjoy prasada. But actually, whatever it is, whatever endeavor you do, in this endeavor, there is no loss of diminution. And a little advancement on this path protects one from the most dangerous type of fear. What is the greatest fear that we all have? We fear suffering, we fear death, we fear lamentation, loss of loved ones. But when we actually endeavor, slowly, step by step, Krishna takes so many steps towards us. We don't realize, we just have to learn to serve the Vaishnavas first of all, to actually develop that love and taste for the Supreme Personality of God. Just like Krishna says, the one who claims to be my devotee is not my devotee, but the one who claims to be a devotee of my devotee is actually my devotee. So actually we may strive very hard to become very Krishna conscious. We may think we're making the best preparations for the Supreme Lord, dressing the deities so nicely for the Supreme Lord, doing so many wonderful activities, distributing so many books for the Supreme Lord. But if there's any tinge of pride, arrogance, or feeling of awe and respect, then of course Krishna eventually gives you a little token of punishment to actually make you understand, you're not doing it for yourself, you're not doing it for show, you're actually doing it to please your spiritual master, and then do it so. It passes on to the Prabhupada, to Srimati Radharani, who sees this wonderful devotee serving so nicely, whatever situation he's facing, whatever challenges he's facing. Krishna, please recognize this beautiful devotee is surrendered unto you, and he wants to serve you 100%. Please give him shelter at your lotus feet. Now that's what we want. We want to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We may not be completely knowledgeable in all the Shastras, we may not be good singers, we may not be good cooks, we may not be able to do many things in our life because we're reserved, we're shy, we don't like to portray ourselves in case we make mistakes or people laugh at us. But slowly, take that endeavor, take that, confidential instructions from somebody who's more senior to you. And that way, they will actually help you, encourage in your spiritual path. We all want to become spiritualized. And the only way this is going to happen if we all work together, serving Krishna, when we recite the verse, Trinada Pisa Nature, Parapisa Ishtana, Manani, Manadina Kitanya Sadari. When we chant the holy name of the Lord, we should chant in humble state of mind, give ourselves lower than a straw in the stream, we should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of prestige, ready to offer all respects to others. Such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So I'll just end there. Is there any questions or comments? Thank you very much for listening. Please forgive me if I made any mistakes. One thing I forgot to share this particular verse, sorry. And the purpose Srila Prabhupada was mentioning about the human being actually coming to that pure state. That's when he mentioned about the 78% qualities of Krishna. So this particular verse from the Bhagavad Gita, so chapter 7, verse 19. Mahunam Javanamante Charvanam Ram Papajate Vasudeva Savamiti Samahatma Sudulabha. After many births and deaths, he was actually knowledge, surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes, and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. So you can imagine how many lifetimes we've all gone through different species of animals, different genders, different sort of personalities, different sort of situations we've faced in all the historical time of the earth as it's created and annihilated. But yet, only after many births and deaths, when we surrender to Krishna and we understand that he is the cause of all causes, that Jivatma within you is a very rare personality. So do continue your sadhana as best as possible, chant your rounds nicely, and come to the temple, take darshan, and always honor prasadam. Thank you so much. Panchakapa Tarubhyascha Vipasinubhyacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Okay, so Anjuman, she's going to be reciting this beautiful verse, Nityananda Ashtakam, written by Vrindavan Das Thakur. He's the author of many books. He's also written Nityananda Charitamrita, and it's also written the Chaitanya Bhagavat. But when you read the Chaitanya Bhagavat, actually Vrindavan Das Thakur is always mentioning Lord Nityananda. Wherever he talks about Lord Chaitanya, he always mentions about Lord Nityananda. Why is that? Because he's saying that without the mercy of Lord Nityananda, we cannot get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Nityananda is Jagat Guru. So we have to surrender to Nityananda to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So Jibet, whenever you're
Hare
ready.
Krishna Prabhuji, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Namrita Mataji will be reciting or reading the English translation first before Anju Mataji sings the bhajan, if that's okay. Hare Krishna, Namrata Mataji, are you ready to recite?
Hare Krishna Mataji, yes, I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. My Dhanat Pranam to all the assembled devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree, whose bright face mocks the full autumn moon, whose pure complexion glistens, whose gait is like that of a maddened elephant, who is always intoxicated in Krishna Prema, who embodies pure spiritual energy, whose face holds a gentle smile, whose eyes are always rolling due to his absorption in Krishna Prema, whose lotus hand holds a glowing staff, and who is, by the performance of Nama Sankirtana, pierces the influence of Kali Yuga. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree, who is the mainstay of all the rasas, who is everything to his devotees, who is beyond compare, who is the master of both Vasudha and Janvi Devi. Prabhuji, I'm sorry, the sharing got lost. Okay, I can see it now, Hare Krishna. Janvi Devi, who consider him more dear than their own lives, who is always maddened in Krishna Prema, and who is unknown only to those of meager intelligence. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree, who is very dear to Sri Sachinananda, who is worshipped by the entire universe, who is the embodiment of happiness, who possesses infinite mercy for delivering the souls who are drowning in the age of Kali, and who, by the performance of Sri Harinam Sankirtana, thwarts the progressing false pride of the ocean of repeated birth and death. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree, who said to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, "Hey brother Gauranga, what will the destination of the sinful souls of Kali Yuga, and how will they be redeemed? Please devise a method by which they will easily attain you." I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree, who wandered around Bengal and, approaching the door of each and every home, threw open his arms and exclaimed, "O brothers, all you should eternally perform Sri Harinam Sankirtana together. By doing so, I will take the responsibility to deliver you all from the ocean of material existence." I eternally worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of Krishna Bhakti tree, who is the Agastya Muni, who forcibly swallows the ocean of repeated birth and death, who is the rising full moon which increases the ocean of the saintly person's welfare, and who is a sun which dissipates the darkness of ignorance cast by the various classes of miscreants. I eternally worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the tree of Shri Krishna Bhakti, who wandered on every path in Bengal, dancing, singing, and calling out, "Haribol, Haribol," and who lovingly bestowed merciful, sidelong glances upon those who were not compassionate to even their own selves. I eternally worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of Sri Krishna Bhakti tree, who held the supremely soft lotus hand of his brother, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, whose heart became filled with the highest bliss when the two brothers gazed into each other's faces, and who wandered here and there, delighting the townspeople with his sweetness. May Sri Nityananda Prabhu place his lotus feet in the heart of one who lovingly recites his unprecedented Nityanandastaka, who is the reservoir of rasa, the greatest treasure of the most exalted of Rasika Vaishnavas, and the storehouse of the essence of Bhakti Rasa. The Astaka is sung in the melody known as Shikharini. Hare Krishna.
Hey, somebody's sharing the screen. Can you increase the text size?
Shailaja Mataji, are you able to increase the words, please?
Hare Krishna Mataji, so I'm just trying to do that.
If you press Control and
Is
you're
this better?
a bit more, 100 and 200% if you do it.
Okay, 200%.
Yeah.
Prabhuji? Okay,
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, may I start?
Yes, of course you can.
My Dandavat Pranam to all the devotees. Sharachandra Bhrantim Suradamala Kantim Gajagatim Hari Premodmatam Dita Parama Satvam Smita Mukham Sada Guna Netram Karikalita Netram Kalibhidam Bhajanityanandam Bhajanataru Kandam Niravadhi Rasanamagaram Swajanagana Sarvasvamatulam Tadiyaka Prana Pramita Vasudha Janavapatim Sada Premodmadam Paramaviditam Mandamanasam Bhajanityananda Bhajanataru Kandam Niravadhi Sachi Sunna Preshtham Nikhala Jagadishtam Sukhamayam Kalo Majjivo Dvarana Karano Dhama Karunam Hare Rakyanadva Bhava Jalidhi Garvanati Haram Bhajanityanandam Bhajanataru Kandam Niravadhi Aye Pratarneram Kali Kalushira Kim no Bhavita Tatha Prayashitam Rachaya Yadana Ayat Yasati me Vrajanti Tvametham Saha Bhagavata Mantrayati yo Bhajanityanandam Bhajanataru Kandam Niravadhi Yatheshtamre Bhrata Guru Hari Hari Dhwana Manisham Tato Vasansara Udhitarana Dayo Mailage Idam Bahuspota Ratati Rataya Yaha Graham Bhajanityanandam Bhajanataru Kandam Niravadhi Balatha Sansaram Bhunidhi Harada Kumbodha Bhavmaho Satam Shreya Sindhun Nati Kumuda Bandhum Samuditam Kalashrini Surjiti Mihirahara Surya Prabhamaham Bhajanityanandam Bhajanataru Kandam Niravadhi Natantam Kayantam Harimanuvadantam Pathi Pathi Brajantam Pashantam Swamapi Nadayan Tam Janaganam Prakurvantam Santam Sakarunadrigan Tam Prakalanat Bhajanityanandam
बिभ्राणं भ्रातु करसरसीजं कोमलतरम् इथो वक्त्रलोकोच्छलितपरमा नन्दहृदयम् ब्रह्मन्तमाधुर्यारहमदयन् तं पुरजनात् भज नित्यानन्दं भजन तरुकन्दं निरवधि रसनमधारं रसिकवरसद्वेषणवदनं रसागारं सारं पतितततिता रं स्मरणत परं नित्यानन्दाष्टकमिदः पूर्वं पठति या तद्विद्वन्त्वां च सुरतुरेतरां तसहृदया भज नित्यानन्दं भजन तरुकन्दं निरवधि भज नित्यानन्दं भजन तरुकन्दं निरवधि Hare Krishna.
Wonderful.
That's amazing.
Very nice
That
one.
was really nice. Sanjibet and Natik here, the English translation. Thank you so much. Why don't we all unmute ourselves and give 3 loud Haribols?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Haribo!
Haribo.
Haribo.
Wonderful, wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Prabhuji,
Very, very, very melodious, really,
Oh,
very
so
nice. And
beautiful.
very soothing, yes.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And you
Well
pronounced
done.
the words very nicely as well. So where did you get the tune from? Did you make the tune or was it a tune, a known tune? Because it did mention on there it's going to be sung in a particular tune to another song. Anjuman,
Yeah, Prabhuji.
did you make up the tune or is it a well-known tune from another song?
No, I heard it on YouTube
Yeah.
and I liked it. So I just, I'm trying to sing like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry I have to say this. The reason being because anyway, I'm just feeling a bit sentimental because you sounded just like my mother when she sang those songs. I mean, she did sing the Nityananda songs, but she sang a lot of bhajans, for satsangs when the Mahasi used to get together in people's houses. So thank you so much. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Any other comments or points anybody wanted to raise? It'd be nice to have a song every session as well, if it's possible. It'd be really nice. I know last week.
yes, that would have been really, really nice.
Yeah.
I'm trying very hard, Prabhuji, but I think for the moment, Divyanam Prabhuji said on Sundays.
Only on Sundays.
Yes,
Oh, that's good.
we have some very talented devotees among our group.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, even if they don't have the talent, I think as I mentioned earlier on, if you have the devotion, the inclination, the idea is that we all support each other, give a bit of encouragement to everybody because, one day we do want to go back together and we want to remember these beautiful songs. And this will be a good opportunity for people to learn the songs, remember them, and also understand the translation as well. So my respects to all of you for joining in today. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful
Thank you,
session.
class.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for